All right, hola guys, and que paso? How's everyone doing? This is Hala Pablo. Thanks for tuning in. Let's do a video on Zcash. Zcash, I got good news about Zcash. Zcash has certainly held its own, hasn't it? Zcash has stayed afloat in light of Bitcoin's recent collapse. It didn't really affect Zcoin much at all. Zcoin was one of those that stayed buoyant, and I believe that's because there's a lot of institutional interest holding Zcash. They've absorbed a lot of its supply. A lot of strong hands hold Zcash. They've bought down here this area here where it mitigated the prior lows that it had back in March of 2020. And this was COVID, actually. This dump area here, this was COVID, this terminal shakeout kind of zone here, and which is where we have since revisited, as you can see. And here smart money has been absorbing buku supply, and I'm going to show you how I know this. And so that has kept it afloat here. Now, the only kind of strength that can keep an asset like this afloat during a Bitcoin dump is strong hand, is institutional order flow, smart money, informed interests, and they've held so much supply. They've held all this supply, so they're not wanting to dump it even further. They're wanting to get a little bit of return back from what they've bought down here, and so that's why they've allowed it to stay afloat. Now, if we look at this macro trend resistance line, I think that's a pretty solid line. I think actually we could draw a trading range. We could draw a pretty convincing trading range from, say, here, where we've had four real persuasive rejections, and well, three at least. We don't know what we're doing here. Here's where we currently sit, but we'll get to that in a minute. And then we have a good support line too. We have a horizontal support and we have a macro trend resistance support. Now the horizontal support, we can even go, say, like here. I'll include these wicks here even, and then from there we could do a 0.5 Fibonacci. So yeah, so we see the rejection here off midpoint, the 0.5. If we take this to be the kind of like the selling climax, and then this would be the automatic rally secondary test, and then here we're just bouncing around. So we've got these two parallel lines, and we have very, very convincing support and resistance boundaries here. I'm going to show you. Let me get a brush. Okay, so here's the first one here. We had this double bounce, this double test, all on low volume here. And then here's our second bounce. Now look at all this bear power here that's coming in, right? Larger than average, much larger than average, but it wasn't able to make any more to pull back past this juncture of the macro trend resistance and, or rather, macro trend support and TRS trading range support. So it wasn't able to go through it, and so despite all this momentum, and so that's why we went back up here. And then here, they're not wanting to go any further, although they could have with all this responsive bull power that came in. We weren't able to prevail through trading range resistance. And so this was on low volume here. And then here, these two areas here, again, we have high supply here. Wasn't able to go through macro trend support. And then here now, see, we had a clear rejection off the 0.5 Fibonacci, even though we had, I would say that's average demand. Let's see if I can blow this up a little bit so you can see it. Average demand. See, volume is a truth serum. If you can understand volume, you can kind of see what the informed interests, as far as supply and demand, and what they're planning to do. Now here we had this is the impulse wave here. Now look, this is how we know, okay? This is how we know that they're absorbing supply. Look at this volume spike. Look at this supply spike that came in on August. This was on the 5th. This is 3 days ago, right here. You see this? This is kind of like this this is pretty much the most we've seen in the latter half of this range. And prior to this, it could bring it down to the macro trend support. The price action was falling through trading range resistance, or rather TRS, trading range support, and wicking off of the macro trend resistance line. See here and here. But at this time, it came down, and we weren't able to go through the 0.5 fib. We've bounced off the fib. So there's been a lot of supply that's been absorbed, and the price wasn't willing. There was it didn't want to go. They were willing to pay more for it rather than let it fall through trading range midpoint. So there's value now. There's value. Why is there value? Well, because supply is getting scarce. So because they're absorbing supply, can kind of understand what, supply and demand, basic supply and demand. So, and that's why we bounced off the 0.5 Fibonacci's, and the bull power prevailed here despite all the bear power in the effort. There's a lot of effort, but the result was not very good at all. So, and that's why we've come back. But look at the responsive demand that's come in since we bounced off the 0.5 Fibonacci. We see how we made this double bottom. We've come up. Now, demand hasn't really been all that. So it's still inconclusive. We could suffer another rejection and come back down. If we don't bounce off trading range midpoint, come back down, and we can consolidate or crab further along in this lateral range. And if they're still going to absorb, we should start to see the waves within this trading range start to shrink as more and more supply gets absorbed, kind of like water being absorbed into a sponge. So when enough supply gets absorbed, that's usually when you see the value increase, and that's when we can have an uplift, and we can actually prevail through this trading range resistance line and start closing out these upper liquidity voids up here. This one at $43. See, what are we at? 35 right now. So we can go up another $8, and then we'll hit another resistance line. And if we prevail through there, then I'm thinking $50. I wouldn't ride if you wanted to momentum trade Zcash. I wouldn't momentum trade it through $50. I would definitely have my stop loss up there. So or like right beneath it, maybe between $45 and $50 if you wanted to just buy here and ride it up. And that's only if we're able to flip the resistance to support. So anyways, it remains to be seen, but yeah, Zcash, they're definitely absorbing Zcash. We know this by the news. Zcash gained support as freedom money with shielded addresses amid EU transparency. Nothing new there. It's they're calling it the real Bitcoin, the real Bitcoin being referred to as freedom money and the real Bitcoin by various supporters. Advocates emphasize the privacy features, particularly the shielded addresses that allow users to hold, send, and receive funds without being tracked or censored. Yeah, it's basically Bitcoin with a shielding capability. That is actually much faster, compared to Zcash. Bitcoin's like a dinosaur, but Bitcoin is the king of crypto. And Zcash is going to have its day, I believe, but we have to be patient. We have to be strong. We have to have strong hands, diamond hands in this case, hang on to it. Like what I do is I just dollar cost average Zcash and I stash it away on a ledger or something like that. I just buy it at the best price I can get it at, and I just hold it. I just tuck it away. That I believe is the smartest thing to do with this. If I wanted to, momentum trade, or I wanted to swing trade, there are plenty of other coins that I could dispense with. But Zcash is something, Zcash has a limited supply. Zcash is like Bitcoin, 21 million. It's a limited supply. I mean, imagine just screwing around with Bitcoin back in say 2010, 2011, and just buying it, dumping it, swinging it, buying it, dumping it, buying it, dumping it, whatever, and then just moving on to something else that comes along, like Dogecoin or whatever, and just forgetting about it. And how you would be kicking yourself right now for not, all that supply that you were buying just to swing. Had you held on to it, and just rode out about half a decade or whatever, and just occupied yourself with just compiling it, accumulating it, absorbing it, dollar cost averaging it. I believe that's that's the mentality I have with Zcash and other coins, but particularly Zcash. You know, it's like I said, I keep saying it. It's all about being bullish on privacy, and I'm bullish on future privacy. I believe that is the future of decentralized finance, is privacy, and Zcash is the golden child. Zcash has the shielding and unshielding capability. It has limited supply, and it can conform to the guidelines of a government, whatever government in this world, because for the fact that it can be de-shielded. It could be de-shielded for anti-criminal activity, protection, things like that, taxation. Whereas other coins that are completely dark don't have that, and it's going to be you're going to have to be a lot more persuasive to have those coins be able to compete with legally with the CBDCs of whatever country that is seeking to either ban it or regulate it. I think Zcash will fall right in line. Zcash is much more conformable, much more suitable for that sort of thing. And so I think there's much less risk with Zcash, in short. So anyway, that's basically that's basically my 2 cents on it. Zcash latest period. Now this just saying that, yeah, it's Zcash has held its own. Yeah, we already know that it's held its own despite Bitcoin's dump. It's held its own, and like I said, that is evidence of institutional interest. That is strong hands. Only strong hands can keep an asset like this afloat during when the Titanic goes down. When Bitcoin goes down, it usually pulls down everything in proximity goes down with it, right? All the lifeboats. Think of the Titanic going down and just pulling down the lifeboats and everything else in it, all the debris in the ocean. Well, Zcash stayed afloat, and so that means a lot. And Zcash, and I know there's a lot of people watching this video right now. You're a Zcasher, as am I, and I want to congratulate you. I believe that you have insight into not a lot of people have. By and large, retail has slept on Zcash, but again, that's good news for us. Yeah. So be encouraged. Don't lose faith, and think optimistically. Look at other coins, diversify. But Zcash is a winner, I believe. And if you hold out, I believe between 3 to 5 years from now, I think you'll be very, very happy, and we'll be celebrating this if we do the right thing. All right. Well, I am going to go. I have a problem with making these videos go too long, and then I check the metrics on my studio on YouTube, and I see people click out after they watch maybe 20% of my videos and click out. So most of you aren't even watching this. If you've watched it this far, good job. Well, I'm going to go. I'm going to get back to my analyzing, spend some time with my family. Thank you for watching. This is not financial advice, but you already knew that. If you get anything out of this, subscribe, check back soon, and I have more videos on the horizon for not just Bitcoin, but Stacks, which is also related, by the way, to Bitcoin, kind of like Zcash. But Stacks is more of for farming, for yield and gains and things like that. But it is also related. It's in the Bitcoin family. So Stacks, Algorand, Shiba Inu, Filecoin, and I may do something on Monero. I don't know. Yeah. So we will see. But anyway, okay, I'll let you guys go. Take care now. God bless. Be safe. Bye.